From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello there, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful evening tonight. This is ParksCenter, where we're going to go over this week's top 7 news stories. Joining me on tonight's show, we have Allison.
Hi, everyone.
Matthew.
Hi.
Rich.
Hello.
And Tyler.
Sivaco! I don't know what that means. I just like saying
it. Someone had to do it. For the non-Navi inclined at home, that is Rise to the Challenge.
Yeah.
Starting off with our first story of the night, a bit of a challenge to drink your way around the world right now that I'm sure some people will be trying to rise to. Food and Wine Festival has announced what their menus are going to be for this year, including their drink menus. This list, so I highly recommend you check out the story on our website because it's long. Like, let me just... There's a lot of booths. So what I'd like everybody to hear to do, do you have any highlights from this? Anything in particular that you really want to try, anything that you find disgusting, or anything that you think they just completely messed up with this?
I'll kick it off. The pancake milkshake. I don't quite know what it is. I don't know what it'll be. I'm guessing it's probably tied to Ralph Breaks the Internet later in the year, synergy. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah, that looks very interesting. Yeah, I like that they're getting some of the the regular the regular counter service locations in on the fun.
Yeah, I agree. It is kind of neat that they've got a Taste Track actually doing something.
Mm.
I honestly am just really excited to see the cheese soup back. I unfortunately
say that.
can't have it myself, but it's always just so well reviewed, and like the year they drop that, there's going to be a small riot.
Well, as the Canadian here, it is super delicious. In fact, since our last vacation last time, we've been making it at home because we found the recipe. We've been modifying the recipe, so we're like, are we even gonna need to buy it when we go to the parks? But I'm a little bit disappointed that the Canada only has 2 food options, whereas everyone else has at least 4 minimum. Like, there's a lot you could do with Canadian food or anything else there. Like, it's nice to have the soup, the pretzel roll, and then this sort of like steak. But I feel like they could have done a lot more snack-based kind of options. That being said, that loaded mac and cheese at Active Eats is definitely one of the highlights for me. I thought that was one of the best things we had. So I really recommend people go to the Active Eats and then the Flavors from Fire, because the piggy wings are also really good.
I have a lot of, not a lot of dietary restrictions, but I'm a pescatarian, so basically a vegetarian that eats fish. And I liked some of the vegan options they had in years past. I think it was really poorly reviewed on the website, but there was a vegan Korean dish last year that I thought was delicious, and that's not back. So I guess I was the only person that thought it was delicious.
The Korean pavilion's gone.
But I saw at least 2 things with scallops, and I like anything with scallops, even if I'm overpaying for 1.
Yeah, I kind of want to try the. Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm happy some of my favorites from last year back. The mac and cheese, cauliflower chicken, whatever it was, shrimp from Australia, the crab cake, lobster roll. I'm getting hungry as I go through the list. Because we actually tried to keep track last year of what our favorites were, and seems like most of them are back, which is very nice. So we'll be down there. We'll have a really good eating time.
Yeah, I'm going to be down there as well.
That marinated chicken with peanut sauce last time was also really good. I'm surprised peanut sauce tastes really delicious with the chicken.
Oh yeah, that is some good stuff. I managed to snag that last year, and oof.
Is that the chicken stir fry thing? Yeah, it has stir-fried vegetables underneath it, which also really pairs really well.
France. Go ahead.
Oh, go. What I was gonna say is I was a little disappointed. I noticed that a lot of the booths that were not returning this year were traditional booths. I mean, there's no South Korea, there's no Scotland, no Patagonia. I kind of feel like they're kind of losing the international part of International Food and Wine Festival, but it may just be this year.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. And but even some of the booths that usually have more offerings, they have, only three. Like France usually has quite a bit more. I thought it was interesting too that they've got escargot back, but now it's like on a croissant instead of in the little plate where they put the snails. And they usually have like a salmon option or something else that I can actually eat. But they just have like a beef thing and then dessert, and like I can't just go around and eat desserts as much as I might want to.
I must say, I'm looking forward to. They have the Sam hash, so looking forward to that. That was actually quite tasty.
Moving on from a bunch of restaurants that we expect to be quite good to one that I'll be honest, we do not expect too much from. Chicken Guy announced their menu at the same time as Food and Wine Festival announced their menu, as if this is a competition. This does not seem particularly interesting. Like there are the whole point of this menu is essentially, let's put chicken tenders on a bun with sauce and some L-top, lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles.
So I was thinking this is Colonel Fieri or something.
Yeah, it sure doesn't seem that way, doesn't it?
Or maybe Chick Guy or something like that.
It's just the whole thing is a little bit bizarre. I'm very curious to know where it came from. The whole concept of even the name, like Chicken Guy, but also when I go to the parks, I'm already eating a lot of chicken tenders in quick service places. If I go to Disney Springs, that's not going to be the first thing on my mind, is going to like a quick service chicken tender place.
I have two comments. One is if you look at the logo and stuff for Chicken Guy, it looks an awful lot like the Chick-fil-A logo to me.
Yeah.
It's like a complete ripoff, and I think are they trying to confuse people and trick them into eating there? Because I don't think people are eating at Guy Fieri's other locations. So maybe they're like, oh, if we rip off something that's super successful that people like, maybe they'll come eat here.
It's a good point. They have a large assortment of sauces too, just like that other Chick-fil-A chain.
Yeah,
Well,
my goodness, this list is just astronomically long. Like we had to split it into categories because it was
Planet Hollywood. Very good.
Well, I will speak for the chicken tenders as someone who has consumed his fair share of chicken tenders in his life and is quite an enjoyable one. Nah. Hold on. What I'm trying to say is there's nothing quite like a really well done chicken tender.
Agreed.
If the food is good, then I think the limitations of the menu will outweigh. I feel like the quality of the food will outdo the limitations of the menu if it's done right.
I'll end on one positive note. It's cheaper than I expected.
That is true.
That's fair.
Yes.
Moving on to plastic being dead. So there's been a big push in a lot of places, Hollywood, other places like that, to get rid of single-use plastics. And Disney is indeed joining that train. By mid-2019, they are going to be eliminating their use of plastic straws, with other products coming soon afterwards, with the eventual goal being to get rid of all of the single-use plastics in the parks. So Disney already does this in Animal Kingdom because they have concerns about plastics and things like that making their way into the animals' areas, and then the animals proceeding to eat them, which is not what we want. So they have paper straws, they have no lids, things like that to help prevent this. Any thoughts on doing this elsewhere? Is this just jumping on a bandwagon for fun? Is this actually like Disney trying to do the right thing and help the environment? Like, what's...
Well, the
What's
only
the
problem
opinion
I
here?
had is kind of buried in the middle is we also will remove plastic containers for your toiletries in the bathrooms and go to I forget how they put it, but refillable in-room products, I think is the right term. And I don't know if you remember when they first trialed that in, I think it was one of the moderates and some of Pop's Tree. I can't remember now. And the internet lost its mind as it does, because people could take their cute little toiletry things home as souvenirs. I wonder if that will happen again and people will now be concerned that their bags won't be, I don't know, waterproof or strong enough or something like that. Something will happen, I'm sure. On the whole, seems like a good idea. I mean, we try to do this at home, so sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's really only a positive thing because it's helping the environment. And we don't really need doesn't need to be plastic. And unlike the toiletries, people aren't like gathering them up and bringing them home. I don't know, maybe some people are, but I don't think it's like a huge percentage of Disney guests that are doing that. I don't love drinking through like a cardboard straw, but then it's like I can also just drink from the cup as an alternative.
Cross it all.
I mean, it doesn't bother me personally. I don't know what the metrics are and how much they'll be able to conserve off of this, but I mean, I would certainly hope it has an impact. The only thing I've been hearing in terms of criticism is that there are some who say those with disabilities may not be able to, may have difficulties with this new system. I don't see why they can't have a smaller amount of plastic straws behind the counter, only available on request, to accommodate those people.
That and also they do make reusable straws. I've seen like a collapsible stainless steel straw that seems pretty cool. So options do exist if you have that need, or heck, even if you have that desire. Like if you just want a good straw, you can bring your own straw.
Does this mean we'll start seeing custom shopping bags and custom straws in the souvenir section at World of Disney?
Don't we already see custom straws? Like that's the swizzle straws, all over the
shape straws. Maybe that'll explode.
And moving there from there, I should say, into something that seems kind of a little counterintuitive. So Ziploc is now sponsoring Splash Mountain. Let's get all the single-use plastics out of the parks so that we can sponsor a single-use plastic in the parks. Like what are you doing? I don't understand.
We should make it clear we're laughing because these two stories came out pretty much around the same time. No more plastic, but also Ziploc.
Yeah, it's like we're covering these in the same week for a reason. They came out the same week. Why?
In Disney's defense, straws are a single-use product, whereas a Ziploc can be reused.
Yes.
So maybe that's the justification.
That's true, but they're both disposable, and plastic is undeniably not great for the environment or oceans. But I don't blame them because this is just like such a great opportunity to have a zippity doo dah Ziploc crossover.
Oh! That was totally lost on me, honestly.
This is the first thing I thought about. Like, why would Ziploc be doing this except for the theme song?
Gosh. Did they also get rights to use this in a commercial at the same time? Because I feel like that would be the bargain of the century right there.
I don't know, but I think it's our only chance of seeing Song of the South footage like on network television.
I was about to say that. There's no way we're gonna see Brer Rabbit all talking about a Ziploc baggie in a positive manner.
Maybe we will. We probably won't see Uncle Remus.
Yeah, I got a feeling you're right.
Positively, I'm glad that they have a sort of free option where it's like, hey, you forgot to bring a bag for your phone, we'll let you use one, and then you can keep it, sort of thing. That's pretty nice. I mean, there's no lockers like the free lockers like
Nope.
at the Animal Kingdom. Yeah, so it's a good option. Now, once I'm done with that bag, I might hold on to it just because I know there's like options to also get wet elsewhere throughout the parks. So I'll probably hang on to that bag, but I can't see anybody else really hanging on to it that much longer, unless they also know that they're going to get wet, and then they'll be like, we may as well keep our phone in here.
Do you
I
think
gotta
Or
tell
they're
you,
going to go to a buffet later because
Yeah.
there's
I was
always
gonna
that
say,
option.
I was gonna say there's gonna be a hot ticket item, that and the Kit Kat Fun Stops at Epcot once Food and Wine rolls around.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'll be honest. Like when I go into the parks, I actually bring in my bag a couple of the old Chinese takeout containers that like I've cleaned out, not the paper ones, the plastic.
Oh,
It is really nice to be able to have like a to-go container in the park that does not disintegrate if you put it in a bag. Like you just you get food, you put it in your bag, you go ride stuff, you eat the leftovers later. You don't have to worry about the styrofoam breaking, falling open, making a mess. It's highly recommended.
Wait,
good to know.
were you saying that you put your phone in there as well? Or I was
I mean, you could, like, if you had one that didn't have food in it, like,
that's what I thought you were
technically
going
use
with
that as the, all right, everyone put your phone in here, let's not get it wet on the ride container. That's actually an idea I hadn't thought about. But moving on from our contradictory plastic stories, we've got some new Mickey ears that came out in the parks. Well, actually, let me see. Have these come out yet? Are these on shelves?
So for the
So
next few
we've
They'll-
so for the next 2 weeks. So these are slowly coming out, I should say. So we've got a Coco inspired headband. We've got some Nightmare Before Christmas hats and hairbands, and some of these really neat like DVC ears. Like honestly, I think the what do you call those, binoculars on top of the hat are kind of cute. And then the Mickey Mouse Club vintage style logo on the ears. I think this is all pretty great, and it seems to be a hit with a lot of the fans as well. I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised it seems to be as big of a hit as it has been. Is this too much hype? Is this right? Like, how y'all feel about this? Is this that big a deal?
I think anyone that
Let
has
people
seen or heard me on podcasts know that this is not like merchandise is not my thing, and definitely not Mickey ears. Like I don't think I've ever owned a pair. Um, I think the one with binoculars is actually really creepy. It's just a weird thing. Like why are and what does it? Why does it like represent DVC?
Well, they're not going to put
I-
a whole hotel up there.
Right, but
Oh.
that would be less creepy than like the peeping Tom style Mickey ears. I don't understand. But I guess if I were to pick any, I kind of like the last one with the sequins that's kind of like a top hat on the side. It looks kind of like a dance recital costume accoutrement. But yeah, they're not my style.
I gotta say, I kind of like the practicality of the Mickey Mouse Club hat because let's be honest, I like the ears, but they're kind of hard to stay on. Plus, you don't get any sun protection from them. I kind of like that they've melded the mouse ears with the hat. It
I
seems a
didn't
little
think
more
about
practical.
that. Yeah, the sun protection aspect of that hat is very relevant.
I'm not a ears collectible person. I think I only have two since like 2008, and both of them like I didn't even get in the parks either. One of them is Oswald ears from Epic Mickey, so I don't even purchase the ears in the parks. That being said, the Coco one does look pretty awesome, and I might actually consider getting that, especially if it glows in the dark.
The Coco one is
Ooh.
kind of cool, but it's a lot. It's like a very ornate what do they call it? Fascinator. Like Southern people wear. It's too much.
Moving on from there to so Disney a while back, going from mice to dogs, I guess here. The Disney a while back announced that they were allowing you to stay in your room with your pets, and you could take them on property with you, and they could stay in the room. This was originally done just as a test offering, but since then Disney has decided they want to make this a permanent offering. For those of you with allergies, myself included, you don't have to worry. It's only at 4 select resorts: Art of Animation, Port Orleans Riverside, Yacht Club, and Fort Wilderness Resort. And granted, there is the potential for more to be added later based on how successful this is and what demand is. But for the moment, it's only going to be at those resorts. So this is going to be a thing going forward. You're gonna take your dogs and your cats on trip with you. Is this a thing you're actually going to do?
Not us.
I think it's a
I don't
nice
have a pet.
option for some families. It's just incredibly overpriced, and I can imagine a situation that it would cost $75 or $100 to clean up after and like de-petify a room after somebody leaves, but not every single family is going to cost that, and that's like the daily rate. Meanwhile, you can go on like rover.com and find a pet sitter that for like $30 per day for your pet, and then you have someone that will be with your pet the whole time instead of being gone out of the room for 12 hours at a time. So your pet's by himself in strange surroundings. So I think it depends if you have an elderly pet or like for whatever reason it makes more sense for you. It's nice to have the option. It's just like so much money.
I genuinely do not know. If maybe someone here would. Does this cover if you have a not necessarily a pet for fun, but a pet that you need either as like a seeing eye dog or a comfort animal, something along those lines?
You don't
Is
have to
that
pay for those at
okay?
hotels. So that's like, yeah, it's a disability rights thing. Just like
Okay.
with the actually similarly with the paying for parking at hotels, if you have a handicap sticker or license plate, you wouldn't have to pay those fees.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Good. I'm glad that we're not because moneying that hard, or I guess I should say that the government made it so that we can't.
Yeah, lawsuits made it so that we can't. So
Thanks, lawsuits. I guess that's all we got to say about this one. So I'm going to move on to our last topic of the night. The Jungle Cruise movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yay!
Which I'm really just looking forward to all of the puns that happen in the ride because of this. Because I don't care if they change the ride or not, there's going to be rock puns. But anyways, the what we've got here is we actually got a little bit of a peek at the production, at the costumes and the logo for the Jungle Cruise coming up October 2019. So that's 2 months away at this point. This is getting kind of close. Is this going to be the new Pirates, or is this going to be the new Haunted Mansion?
It says 2019.
It's 2019. That's next.
Oh,
2019 or
I'm so
2018?
good. Yeah, I'm good at dates.
Numbers.
Year and 2 months. Year and 2 months.
There we go.
Thank you.
At some point, Dwayne Johnson said, "I'm going to be in every adventure film that ever comes out," and I'm totally okay with that because he looks great in this movie, and those two look like they have wonderful chemistry. They're both super charismatic actors who can both sing. So I mean, not that this movie has singing, we don't know that for sure, but I'm totally excited for another Parks movie or another attractions movie.
Yeah, especially a classic attraction. It's nice to see something like the Jungle Cruise getting attention, and maybe inspiring a whole new band of fans that in a new generation. I hadn't even thought about The Rock and his singing voice, which is beautiful. And Emily Blunt's singing voice was also outstanding. I really hope they're singing in this. And I know some people are concerned about changes to the ride and like the Johnny Deppifying of Jungle Cruise, but I would welcome seeing a Dwayne The Rock Johnson animatronic any day. Sounds good to me.
Well, I'll wait to see how good the movie is first. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, it can be Pirates of the Caribbean, or it can be Country Bears, which I think was universally reviled.
We were talking about
Uh,
this before, where it was
even-
like the ride itself may or may not have a plot line already sort of embedded into the attraction, but then people will take something that already has, like Country Bears had sort of a world surrounding it, and then they're like, what if we just did something completely different?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Pirates. No, go on.
I guess Jungle Cruise like really doesn't have that much of a story like hard written around it. Like there's some soft stuff with the skipper that because we've got the skipper canteen, which ties into, if I remember correctly, that's a part of the Society of Adventurers and Explorers, or Society of Explorers and Adventurers, I believe.
The Jungle Navigation
SEA, yeah.
Society serves the SEA or something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that this could tie into that, and gosh darn it, now I want to see if we get an Adventurers Club movie from this if it does well.
I want a movie of
Yes!
Mystic Manor.
Maybe this could be another franchise, up and down the river with adventurers, and this river, another river, or across a desert, or who knows what they could do.
Does that mean we get another Tower of Terror movie?
I don't know.
I hope so. That one's not that bad.
We're gonna see a Dwayne Johnson animatronic peeking out from behind the rock on the cruise, maybe.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, the backside of water as seen in Disney's hit film Jungle Cruise.
The backside of Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Ooh.
Hey,
I think he confirmed on Instagram that is going to be a joke in the movie at some point.
Good.
Like he was teasing a little bit of that kind of stuff.
It honestly, it has to be. Like that's too important.
I remember that. Yeah.
All right, folks, that is going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you all for joining us. A couple plugs before we let you go for the night. If you are watching this live and you would like to listen to more wonderful things, Around the Hub is coming up next. So I highly recommend you stick around for that. That is going to be an audio stream, so check the Ntunes stream up there. If you're not watching this live and you'd like to be, we record Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. On wdwntunes.com. You can also find us at youtube.com/wdwnt to watch the videos after the show. And if you want to hear us in audio form, we now have a podcast form of us. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and probably pretty soon anywhere else podcasts are sold. If you are interested in more from Tyler specifically, the last episode of this season of Ride Rehab is going to be coming out on the 7th. Tyler, what's that about?
So this one, we actually got Defunct Land to join us, and we're stuck in a transportation tube in Stitch's Great Escape, and we talk about how we would rehab that, except that we find that it is actually a lot more difficult than we thought. So it's a lot of putting ourselves in the shoes of Imagineers and coming to some insane conclusions.
Nice. I'm going to check that one out. That sounds pretty fun. All right, folks, thank you all for joining us, and we will see you again next week.